Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Disco Elysium with me, Bring It On. Let's speak to the smoker first.
Hi again, Gendarme.
Only 20% chance. What is it about the way he carries himself?
It's the sports. He's a sports guy, all about that physical prowess and athletic skill. Nothing else here.
Bye-bye, Gendarme.
Well, shoot. I speak to the cook.
The man ponders his cooking utensils and gives you a little nod, acknowledging your presence.
Leo said you're friends with Manana. Is that true?
The mention of mañana gets his attention. He smiles and delivers a whole slew of unfamiliar words and lively gestures. Then he falls silent again.
What is in that borscht you're making there? Point to the large pot.
The man says a couple of sentences in that strange language of his, and then seems to wait for you to speak. I'm pretty sure he asked you a question. He doesn't know your language. You can just say something cool in return.
Mercury rising. Run your fingers through your hair.
Borscht need more vodka?
He looks at the soup, then at you. He picks up a bottle from the shelf.
Of course, vodka. Now that makes a very, very special borscht indeed. Turn it up and then ask for some yourself. Turning it up seems like a dangerous idea, honestly. The place is a powder keg.
No. No vodka. Turn your fingers counterclockwise. Cut it.
The cook gives you a long, disappointed look, then turns the stove off and seems to wait for you to speak.
Oh, good, we got some experience. That did not take nearly as long as I thought it was going to. So, let us go speak to Joyce. Then if that doesn't take very long, we'll have to find some more miscellaneous checks around this area to deal with. I just realized there's no music playing. Oh, there it is. So the Whirling has that one very stand-outish soundtrack. What are chances of this during the day?
Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, we'll wait for night. So I think this gives us another +2. Plus our clothes that we have on give us another +2, I think.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
She takes a sip from her silvery thermal cup. Yeah, we got some questions about reality.
More lessons in basic reality? My favorite part of the day. Go ahead, ask me anything.
Well, hey, it says it's impossible, but we can do it. See, what is reach for something fundamental?
What is all of this? The scent, the sound, the air.
What world is this?
What world? The only one, I suppose. The world of matter. And its pale antipode.
The fading pearls of her eyes look out to the sea. Or just look to the sea.
The camera of her mind glides over the surface of the water.
What do you see?
Great bodies of water. Forest-covered surfaces. Clusters of light where the cities lie. You've seen the montage. We all have. This world is enough.
She concludes.
There is a term of endearment they coined for it, in the DeLorean century, when humanity was high on this world, discovering more and more of it, these archipelagos included.
What is it?
Elysium.
Elysium. The world needs a term of endearment.
It does. There are those who would call it hell.
What is hell?
A term of hatred that originates, like many such things, with the Mesk petro-fascists.
I don't feel like I have got the whole picture yet.
Oh, you want a picture of the world? There is no complete set yet, dear. They're having some trouble reaching orbit.
She raises her finger to her lips. How come?
Great things are difficult to achieve. For now, we're viewing the world from the inside, sideways.
Inside sideways. What shape is this world then?
We used to think it was a sphere, but that is beginning to look less and less likely by the day. You wouldn't know it from the tabloids, but the ORG nations have been launching weather balloons into the lower ionosphere since the 30s.
ORG, Occident Revischolgrad.
There's a steadily increasing trickle of images. Between the big three scientific contributors, they're piecing together a dark grey corona.
A dark grey corona.
Yes. Pale covers 72% of the surface. There are grey flares and prominences, even arcs above entire isolas. The images are blurry, but if there was a sphere in there, it certainly looks like it fractured a long time ago.
She pauses.
A cold fear seeps into you.
The pale. What do you mean corona?
They say there is a rarefied envelope of matter surrounding the darkened disk of our planet. That is, if we are still living on a planet. Or, to speak more plainly, imagine vast swathes of land disrupted by nothingness. I am sorry, dear. It must sound quite terrifying through the acute encephalopathy. Even scientific positivism isn't entirely convinced about what we're dealing with here.
She looks around.
But this is one of the greatest questions of our time. Maybe when they get the complete set together, it will jolt us out of our rut, bring us together, however naive it may sound.
Yeah, fractured corona doesn't feel like it's going to bring anyone together.
You have misimagined it. I don't have the power to convey to you the effect and geometry of the images that depict our world from below low orbit. It's like the crowning of the world. It's insane. Very disco. You'd love it.
She looks up. Well, if you say it's disco.
See? Everyone finds something worth holding on to in this world, however wasted its opportunities.
Suddenly, you're conscious of yourself standing there, on whatever this all is. Your arms hang down by your sides.
What is pale?
The pale is not, technically speaking, part of reality. It is the opposite of reality.
Okay, but what is it? A definition.
Okay. The pale is the most dominant geological feature of the world, detective. The separative tissue between the islas. It is the interinsulary mass.
She concedes. Okay, what is the pale like?
Achromatic, odorless, featureless. The pale is the enemy of matter and life. It is not like any other, or anything in the world. It is the transition state of being into nothingness.
Is it here? Look around.
No, detective. We're safe. It begins there, 6,000 kilometers to the north, and even more to the south, east, and west. You are in the middle of the Isla.
She points to the sea.
As your gaze instinctively turns north, a small black pit opens up in your stomach.
6,000 kilometers from the end of the world.
Yes. That is enough. Many cities are built much closer.
And point north. There?
An uproar of matter, darling. Rising into the pale. Rolling. Evaporating even. A great vision. The area of transition between the world and the pale is called porch collapse. Imagine a grey coronal mist, cold vapor marked by spores of an opportunistic microorganism, a mold that's adapted to grow at the edge of the unrest. It's the most disco thing you will ever see.
She closes her eyes and breathes out heavily. What are its physical qualities?
It's difficult to describe, or even measure. Something whose fundamental property is the suspension of properties. Physical, epistemological, linguistic. The further into pale you travel, the steeper the degree of suspension, right down to the mathematical. Numbers stop working. No one has yet passed the number barrier. It may be impossible.
If we're surrounded by Pale, how do you get from Isola to Isola?
Oh, it is so difficult for us.
Her lungs deflate. Her words sound like a sigh.
A squall of birds. Hardware operating in the harbor. Firm. Self-evident.
It is possible to force dimensions on the Pale. In modern times, we can even compress its latitude, bouncing radio waves from one end to the other, shortening the path. But it is still hard for humans to navigate the Pale without getting lost, or having our minds damaged.
The Pale can damage the mind.
Extensively.
How?
Some say the damage stems from extreme sensory deprivation. Others argue that Pale somehow consists of past information that's degrading, that it's rarefied past, not rarefied matter. They call it the blend over of the self. The Pale does not only suspend the laws of physics, but also the laws of psychology, maybe history even. The human mind becomes over-radiated by past.
I wonder how relevant that is for my character, since he seems to have a lot of very strong feelings about his past. Maybe this has something to do with the way he's acting? Why he's so self-destructive?
Who says and who argues?
Yeah, who says and who argues?
The logical positivists say, the dialectical materialists argue.
What does this over-radiation feel like?
It feels terrible. Absolutely terrible. International standards strictly limit civilian travelers to 6 days of Pale exposure per year.
It's more for her. Way more.
You're not a civilian passenger.
No, nameless detective of the Citizens Militia. I am a member of the Entropanetic business class. I'm cleared and trained for 22 days of Pale transit annually.
Someone else you've met may have been exposed as well. The strange grey-haired woman in her lorry.
That would explain the way she's acting as well, because she's obsessed with the past. Thinking about, was it the cinema, I believe? Do lorry drivers pass the Pale?
Yes, carried in the hulls of airships. It's a horrific job. Automation will abolish it soon.
She nods.
That poor woman must have stories to tell, like you wouldn't imagine.
Are you over-radiated?
Up to my gills, officer.
What is Entropanetic?
Interrogate is the scientific study of the Pale, or a recent iteration of it by way of grad. The study of the Pale reaches back 6,000 years. The Pericarnassians called it the Western Plain.
She corrects.
They had not traveled the entire circumference of the Pericarnassian super-Isola. It was not merely in the west, it was everywhere, even then, surrounding them.
Did they cross it? The Western Plain?
There are signs of pre-modern crossings. Successful navigation of the Pale relies not just on technical know-how, but intensive psychological preparation. Some of these tactics have been known for thousands of years.
What has Entropanetics changed then?
Nothing. We remain powerless before the Pale. The only real advance in Pale transit is the speed with which an aerostatic craft can pierce it. Less exposure leads to less effects later.
Aerostatic craft.
Hybrid airships, detective. Conventional rotors or jet engines no longer add velocity after the point of reference for motion is suspended, once you've crossed from near Pale to far Pale. In essence, we throw them in and they come out the other end. If we throw them precisely.
If we do not.
Then they don't.
Gone, like a skipping stone beneath the surface.
How much Pale is there compared to the world?
The Pale outweighs reality 2 to 1. There is more Pale than there is matter, and the ratio is slipping.
Slipping how? To our detriment, or...
What do you think, detective?
She looks you in the eye. It's shrinking. There is more and more of the world.
Oh no, Detective. It's not. One of the few measurable effects of the Pale is that it is expanding at an unknown rate. An intuitive conclusion of that development is that one day the Pale will cover everything. But this sort of talk is mostly left to extremists.
Cover everything. That can't be. Where would we go?
Most people, and indeed most private and government sector organizations, entire civilizations and religions even, find handy ways to ignore or downplay that knowledge. I suggest you do the same.
Off we go. You see the hanged man's mouth open.
Off we go into the wild Pale yonder.
One and all. They say Pale is death, but for the universe.
She closes her eyes.
Why should we just leave, and the world get left behind?
Yeah, let's return to reality, please.
Yes, sweet reality. But before we do, tell me, Detective,
She stomps her foot.
is this the first time you're hearing this? Do you really not remember anything?
I sometimes sense vague shadows of a past, and it's not good.
Then tell me, what do you think of the Pale?
Number 5. I kind of wish this said it's sublime instead of it's terrifying. Because sublime is beauty, but like terrifying beauty. Like something extremely powerful or... I don't know. Let's see. You were right. It's Disco.
Mm-hmm.
Her eyes tense. Crow's feet radiate from them. She observes you. Your bloodshot eyes and swollen face.
You really didn't know. This does not spell good for the investigation, Detective. If you don't know even this, then...
She stops mid-sentence. This investigation will be my masterpiece. The one they remember me by. I promise.
I hope so. I truly do. If I may suggest, hold on to your colleague, Kitsuragi. I ran a check on him and he is very competent. In the meanwhile, you have me. I will assist you in any way I can, even if we have to do it one basic term at a time.
She gives you a slight bow. Alright, let's change our clothes real fast.
Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. Anything else?
So we have at least our coat we can put on for the esprit de corps check. Oh, well, shoot. Those don't stack. Not wearing anything that gives me -2 esprit de corps. Doesn't look like it, so it's as good as it's gonna get.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? More lessons in basic reality? My favorite part of the day. Go ahead, ask me anything.
She's positively surprised. Alright, think of something close to you.
It remains a mystery what you mean by this something close. This isn't about you. It's about reality.
Glad to have been of assistance.
Alright, well, let's take a look at what checks we have now. I'm tempted to put another point in conceptualization because I didn't wear the proper clothes when I did those checks previously. So we did just level up, and I think that might be worth doing. But then again, maybe not. I mean, I'll probably get, like, what, 5 experience for this? Maybe 5 experience for the box of sunglasses? So maybe that's not worth doing yet. Physical instrument. Maybe we can do the barbell real fast. If I take off my shirt. Let's go give that a shot real fast. I guess the worst that could happen is that we hurt ourselves trying it, and Kim's not there to help us, but we'll be okay. We're not wearing a shirt, so we'll definitely be okay. Oh. There's a perception check there that I missed. Let's do this first.
The barbell waits patiently on the floor, like a dog for its master.
Alright, lift the barbell. Come on. 72% chance.
You manage to hoist it off the ground, but the barbell feels wobbly and dangerous. Your hands slick with sweat. Turns out you're no beast, just an old man with bad form. See? See? This place is cursed.
Alright, fine. I'll continue to be disappointed. Really thought I had that one. Looks like Guillaume Le Million, that hair poster. Okay. Alright, see what other checks we have laying around. I don't want to use this skill point that I have. I want to hold on to it. Because I'm concerned I should probably just retain one at all times in case I come across another thought. That way I can immediately slot that and just start working on it. So what's next? Pile of clothes. Let's go give that a shot. I guess I didn't realize that was a composure check. Let's make sure that we are fully composed before I do it. I don't think I have anything that gives me composure. Oh, these do.
If he really wants to save the economy, he'd let you pay with net worth. Go over and ask him if you can.
Alright, find something worth salvaging from that pile of rags.
Something cold grazes your hand. Synthetic and sleek. A windbreaker. Surf, it says, but also wind, summer, 100% waterproof, and sport. All in different typefaces. Practical, and yet it may deaden your senses to the world around you. Possibly because of the awful typeface.
Good choice, officer. Mega sporty. And it's only $4.50 for you, sir.
That's my composure. I don't need it right now. Alright, next check. What do we got? Ceiling Rhetoric Challenge.
Everything's still cool here, officer.
See, I don't want his money. We could try Renee again. And I don't remember there being an interfacing check in that book. Was there? Let's see.
A cockatoo is a... This book talks about the delicate nature of twos, as well as introducing some of the most popular...
Yeah, I don't think there's a check in that book. I'm pretty sure there's not. Well, let's try Renee again.
Vigilance officer, what can this old carabinier do for you?
He salutes you. It's only a 1 in 4 chance. Alright, what is it about this old soldier that makes him stand so proud?
Still, all you see is an old soldier refusing to replace his uniform with a civilian attire.
Anything else I can assist you with, officer? We still have a game to finish.
He asks impatiently. I guess not. Yeah, run out of checks to do, so, Well, I don't want a bite of his sandwich either.
It is such a pleasure to see you again, officer. How may I head the citizens' militia on this fine day?
You mentioned Jean-Marie Belleau? Who is that? I hope I pronounced that right.
Oh, sweet Jenny.
Jenny.
She was the finest woman in all of Revachol. Maybe the entire world.
He gets a dreamy look in his eyes.
Do not defile her memory, Gaston. Let her rest in peace.
There's an almost imperceptibly small tremble in his voice. So you both know her.
We knew her, all right. Lived on the same street our entire lives, just 2 houses apart. The 3 of us have been best friends since we were 4.
His friendly face lights up.
She was René's first girl back when the prick was 16. They were courting till he decided he'd rather die for some great ideal than just be happy.
He looks at the carabiner, almost gently.
And then you stole her from me.
He jerks forward, but then grabs his chest and stops. Easy, fellows. No need for this to get ugly.
Oh, officer. It already got ugly nearly 80 years ago when the 3 of us were just learning to walk and talk.
Gaston is unfazed by the outburst.
You stole her from me.
Renee repeats, trying to steady his breathing and still clutching his chest.
Well, technically, you stole her from me, because we'd been pretty close ever since you two had that falling out over the ink you spilled over her pretty yellow dress.
We were just boys then. This was different. You,
The tall veteran looks at you and nods.
no point starting this all over again. For the 1000th and the first time. Especially when we have company. Officer,
He turns to you. What happened to her?
She died of pneumonia 2 winters ago. It was a quiet passage, peaceful.
He smiles faintly.
René and I were both by her bedside when she...
He pauses, searching for the right word.
died. No use sugarcoating it. Won't bring her back. Will it now?
He sharply fills the silence and adds,
departed. Until the very hand she couldn't decide between us. The most indecisive woman I've ever met.
His partner finishes his sentence, then chuckles.
A quick grimace of pain passes over René's features, but he immediately regains control. His face now a dispassionate mask again.
Why do you think she was indecisive?
She could never make up her mind about anything. What to have for breakfast, favorite color, or which one of us to marry.
The look in his eyes is happy and distant.
She was always leaving one of us for the other, but never long enough to actually get married.
Yeah, that's a bit odd.
Heck, technically, we're both still engaged to her.
He says with a chuckle.
You always confused her. Couldn't let us be happy. Seduced her with your fancy words and pastries.
He says with heavy resentment. He suddenly remembers you were still there, falls silent, and turns away. Well, thanks for sharing.
Of course, officer. Memories are all we have left.
He says with a smile. Let's talk about her again.
Sweet, sweet Jenny. Ask away, officer. I knew her all my life.
He nods, smiling.
Of course, officer. Memories are all we have.
Well, I didn't get nearly as much done this episode as I would have liked, but I think I'm going to call it here anyway. I don't know what direction to go in next. I think I'll peruse this off camera and decide where to go next. I guess I could. Where's that check at? The one speaking to the cryptozoologist's wife. So I thought I had over a 50% chance when I tried that last time. Maybe I didn't. That might be worth pursuing. I guess I could go across the water lock. So I don't think I have any other quests on this side besides... Well, I have stuff to do on this side. Oh, we can... Nope, the radio's not here. Never mind. Kim took the car. Shoot. Yeah, I think we might cross the water lock in the next one and see what's south. So I think I've reached a dead end here. I know I have some more checks, but I don't really want to do any of those yet because they're all like 3% chance or something like that. So we'll deal with that later. In the meantime, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.